Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor, who just lost Rob Wright to BYU for, in the trade, a player to be named later, and that name is Keelan Marion. The reason I called you and said I need your input on this is because as he is released, the schools he's visited, I'm like, oh, that's a Big 12 school. Wait a second. There's another Big 12 school. This doesn't seem like a tampering deal because of how he's being shopped around the country, but a lot of Big 12 teams are in the mix for the best return man in the conference and what could have been a great wide receiver in the conference next year. And Baylor could possibly be a front runner for to give a big ring finger to BYU after the Rob Wright situation.
And what I do wonder about this is I wonder how much the Rob Wright situation actually plays into this.
Do you think it does? Do you think it does at all?
I see a school in BYU that is a huge, passionate fan base. It's way into sports, but
you have made no friends over there, by the way.
Apparently not. The friends who are still there rock with me. But you like anyone would tell you that that's a football school. They're putting a lot into basketball now, but that's football, right? And I think a lot of these players are seeing they paid how much for a point guard on a basketball team? 6'1".
Oh, whoa! Someone's making.
And we're out here.
Right, yeah, someone's making very good points.
And we're out here, in the college football playoff discussion to the last week of the season. We just won 11 games last year. We're bringing a lot of guys back. I'm Keelan Marion, a first-team All-American. And you're giving that guy that? What am I getting? Like, I do think there is some of that. It's usually within a locker room of like, oh, the quarterback's getting that much. Why? Where's my money? But I wonder if there's something into that because it's not just Rob Wright. It's AJ DeBonsa and it's whomever else they get to this BYU basketball team. And again, I don't think they should be shying away from that. I think BYU fans should be leaning into it rather than saying other stuff is why they got them there. And so I wonder how much that has to play into it. Now, I'll say this. Baylor is going to get a wide receiver in this portal window. They've already offered a couple as this window has just been open a few days. They need some depth at that position. They don't necessarily need a big game-breaking guy. And the more I look on this, I would like Keelan Marion. I would take that. But would I tell you that can I tell you that we have Keelan Marion at home?
Oh.
Can I tell you that we have a better Keelan Marion at home?
Huh.
Because he was a first-team All-American as a punt returner, kick returner, but was second-team All-Big 12 at that same position because Josh Cameron was better. And Josh Cameron has more than twice as many catches this past year than Keelan Marion has. So am I going to say, no, I'm good if the option is there to have both of them? No.
Right.
But I think you're much more likely to see them get one of these kind of second tier guys, especially with Keelan Marion getting offered by like literally any team in the Big 12. You could have brought in any Big 12 Locked On host in here and talked about, hey, what about that offer to Keelan Marion? They're all sending him out. The SEC schools are too. He's going to get himself a good bit of money, good chunk of change to go play somewhere. And I don't know that it's going to be Baylor.
BYU fans are pretty upset at him leaving. They are surprised. They are handling it better than Baylor fans handled the Rob Wright situation, which I think everyone's mad. A lot of Baylor fans are mad at Rob Wright's father, who they didn't know until the last 3 weeks. More upset with him than they are the actual kid himself. For BYU, they don't really have anybody to blame. Like Keelan Marion just entered the transfer portal. I don't think he would have been a world-beating, unbelievable Heisman Trophy candidate at wide receiver. He was the electric return man that everybody wanted. And I also think he could fall in the category, Baylor fans will understand this, of a Richard Reese, where you have a year or two of pretty good production, and then by year 3, you're like, he's really good, but do we have that? When he leaves, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. The Richard Reese leaving Baylor fans weren't upset. He was pretty easy to replace after all. That could be the situation here. What's going to make this a big stink in the Big 12 is because he's being courted by so many teams in conference, Baylor included. It begs the question, is it money related? Because I don't know what else it would be. Everyone else seems to be vibing pretty hard with BYU right now. And if it is money related, as I've stated multiple times for every program, if a kid leaves your school citing, I want more money elsewhere, it's so damn good that kid left your school. You probably didn't want that in your program anyway.
At the end of the day, yes, and especially a team like BYU that is ready to win again. That's ready to be in that Big 12 championship discussion again. They're not thinking, oh my gosh, that's the one guy we need to get over the top. They're thinking we need guys in this locker room who want to be here. And I think that's the case for a couple of Big 12 teams. I think Baylor would be amongst them as well. But yeah, I think this is probably a money situation. There's especially this spring portal window when other programs start to get desperate. Like they start these college football players of worth any salt are getting several calls every day from coaches at other schools and through their trainer and all this. That
a lot of them are no contact too. Like they have their massive offer. Yeah,
there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. They will get their offer. And so I imagine it's just a case of I'm hearing I can get what, where, like. Okay, all right. I'm liking the sound of these numbers and this, and probably went to BYU last week and said, "Hey, I'm just letting you know this is what I'm hearing. Are you guys gonna be able to do anything like this?" And I'm sure Kalani Sitake and Brass said, "No, we're not gonna be able to do that.
Sure,
go with God."
Yeah. Praise be to He.
Yeah.
That. I didn't know. I don't know if I processed the whole money thing being as important as it is, but I'm not sure what else it could be. You're going to get playing time. You get playing time for a contender, for a college football playoff contender.
For a great fan base.
For a very passionate fan base. And how would I react? I'm an All-American, and I was just told that a top 40 returning player in college basketball, not top 5, not top 10, maybe not top 15 or 20.
Is not an all-conference player.
Is going to make $3.5 million in the same athletic department where I could win a college football playoff game as an All-American. I probably want to get paid. Like, I know that the donor situation isn't always 1-to-1 between football and basketball. There's not a true way to split it up and divvy it fairly, but I think I would also like a share of the pie that makes more sense.
Yeah, and like at risk of getting myself into more hot water with BYU fans, I have seen several on social media with these football players that have entered the portal the last few days and being like, something's not exactly right here. Like you just had this great season, 11 wins. And it's not the first portal window. It's the second, and a couple of big time players are out the door. I don't know how widely held a belief that is amongst fans, but I think that would fit in more to your last point there, of like, look, we all love basketball, we do, and being competitive in basketball is still very important. But at the end of the day, college football playoff, like that's making unbelievable money for your university and your athletic department. That is what drives admissions and fundraising. That's what drives all of it. And so you see, $3.5 million for him, for Rob Wright. I don't know who Rob Wright is. That's probably what Keelan Marion saying. I don't know who Rob Wright is. I've heard of AJ DeBonsa as number one prospect in all of high school basketball. I ain't heard of Rob Wright. He's getting 3.5. Why? My name's on the All-American list. I'm an All-American. Like, what is this? For a guy who might be an all Big 12 player, I would imagine that's pretty frustrating.
Later this week on Locked On Big 12, did BYU adding Rob Wright kill football program? If I'm a starter and I'm making less than Rob Wright, I'm probably not very happy about that. That's Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor. This has been It Always Will Be. Come back tomorrow for more sports, or come back on Thursday to see the squad show. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dos Grande.